All right, good evening, Arkansas. This is Assistant Chief Forecaster Kevin here once again. I'm here to give you guys a live update going over the winter weather potential as we get towards your Tuesday, Wednesday time frame. A couple of things I'm going to talk about first before I get into all the questions and all the other good stuff. So just kind of keep that in mind, guys. I'm trying to get to as many people as possible, but you just got to remain patient with me, okay? So biggest thing right now is I want to kind of talk about what's going on the map at this moment. We do have a few showers ongoing across central Arkansas and north Arkansas at this time. I have gotten some reports, especially up here near the Marshall area, of some sleet ongoing earlier on this evening here. I'm not sure if that's still ongoing at this current time here, but I would say probably late tonight and early part of your Sunday morning. As this disturbance, let's go ahead and zoom this out. Your disturbance right in here kind of clips through southern Missouri and northern Arkansas, and you could see some winter weather up there in far northern Arkansas here, upwards to a trace to half an inch of snowfall up here. But nothing too significant on the roadways or anything like that here, and it should quickly pass through the area here. Now, let's talk about why the majority of everyone is here at this point. And this is going to be for our system that is now officially onshore. And I've been kind of delaying the live streams over the last couple of days here because we've been trying to get a better visual of what we're looking at, seeing guidance was going to go one way or the other. So that's been the biggest reason here. But this is our storm system in question right here. Let's go ahead and put the envelope. Let's go ahead and put the track of the low right here. So it's coming into the northwest portions of the country here, and it's up there where the upper networks are right now. So that means guidance is getting a better sampling of the data at this point, and that's really going to help us out in terms of forecasting this over the next 24 to 48 hours out here. So that's going to be the biggest thing, and that's the reason why you've seen a lot of different ideas on social media over the last couple of days here, is because we've been dealing with an unsampled system. It's been out here in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. The data hasn't really had a good handle on what it was going to do until just now. So just kind of keep that in mind. The forecast should become a little bit more clear over the next 24 to 48 hours out here. So let's go ahead and take a look at this. And this is something that you've seen on our side over the last couple of about last day or so. And these are our scenario maps here because of the fact that we're still about 2 to 3 days away. We still have that little bit of uncertainty in the forecast, so we're throwing these scenario maps out to kind of give you guys a visual on what we're potentially looking at here. So this is the scenario map here, and I just realized that was an error on the graphic here. That's supposed to say heavy snow up there instead of an all snow event here. But this is kind of the best scenario that we're looking at right now. We increased it from this morning. This morning was 70%. Now it's upwards to 80% at this point. So this is what we're looking at here, primarily an all-snow event across much of north and central Arkansas, down into western Arkansas and southwestern Arkansas. Southern and southeast is where the biggest question remains in terms of if you're going to see winter weather or not down there as we get towards late Tuesday evening and into Wednesday morning here. And I know the majority of everyone that's here right now is trying to figure out timing and all the other stuff. I cannot answer specific timing questions for specific areas. I'm going to repeat that. I cannot answer specific timing for specific areas right now. It's not going to happen. So keep that in mind across the board here. But the biggest thing is down there in southern and southeastern Arkansas, you guys are in a big question right now because how far south does this system get and how deep does the cold air get into those areas here? But I would say from that I-30 to the I-40 corridor points north and west will be the best shot of seeing winter weather as we get towards your day on Tuesday and the Tuesday evening, going into Tuesday night and the early part of your Wednesday morning before it finally gets out of the state by this point here. Now, I do want to throw this other scenario with you guys, and this is going to be scenario number 2. And scenario number 2 decided to be the correct graphic versus scenario number 1. But anyways, this is scenario number 2. Scenario number 2 is a 20% right now, kind of makes up for the margin difference between scenario number 1 and the 100%. So at this moment, and this is going to excite a lot of people, especially my folks down there in southern and southeastern Arkansas, this is the outlier solution. So what do I mean by outlier solution? That means that it has a very, very, very low chance of occurring, and it's not likely to happen right now, but it's just enough to kind of mention it because I have seen the south/southeast trend with the system and with the cold air over the last couple of days here. So if that trend were to continue, over the next 24 to 48 hours here, we'll have a better shot of seeing that with the data since we got the system on shore now. We'd have to wait and see what happens with that. But if that were to occur, I would see it down here in southern and southeast Arkansas. Now, like I said before, the people that are going to see this, they're going to get excited and they're going to run with it. I want to stress this right now. This is not a 100% chance of occurring. This is an outlier solution in case the southern trend continues. But if it doesn't continue, it's going to favor scenario 1, which would keep southern Arkansas and southeast Arkansas in a majority of a cold rain across this board here. Now, let's talk about accumulations. But like I said, the majority of everyone that's here is trying to figure out what does accumulations look like. And the biggest thing I've heard, and if I had a penny for every time I've heard this, is I'll believe it when I see it. That's Arkansas. That's how it is. I get it. But folks, I want to let you realize something. We do see winter weather here in Arkansas. Look back in 2021. Look back in 2022. It happens. It happens every single time. So just keep that in mind. But the biggest thing is with the accumulations. I am not confident in making a full-blown snowfall accumulation map right now. It's not going to happen because you have too much uncertainty with computer model guidance. You're starting to see that southern, your southeast trend. It's just too early and too premature to put an accumulation map out at this given moment. That will change over the next 1 to 2 days. Biggest thing about winter weather, especially winter weather forecasting, patience is going to be your best friend, especially with us, because you're trying to figure it out. We're trying to figure it out. We're trying to sum it down so you guys can get the better visual of this. So keep that in mind across the board. But this is what we're looking at across the area here in terms of the chance of seeing snowfall accumulating across the board. And I know a lot of people are kind of asking about ground temperatures too. You got to realize something. We're in the mid to upper 40s to low 50s, and the sun angle at this given moment is still favorable for snowfall accumulations. And also, one more thing is, this is going to be occurring after the sun sets. This is going to be occurring mainly Tuesday night and early Wednesday morning, which means you won't have any radiation coming from the sun or anything like that to melt the snowfall. So that really helps with your snowfall accumulation potential here. But we're going, as of now, just kind of using scenario 1 as the base map from Texarkana to Holt up towards Stuttgart to Memphis. I'd go low right now, given that there's still some uncertainty on the southern end of this. But I'd say from the Queen to Little Rock to Blytheville, north and west, especially in the higher elevations of the Ouachitas and the Ozarks, really good shot of seeing accumulating snowfall out there. And some places out there could see some rather significant snowfall accumulations by the time we get towards your Tuesday night and your Wednesday time frame here. But this is using scenario number 1. Let's take a look at scenario number 2. And this is what I was mentioning before with the southern trend. The southern trend has to be noted because that's what's been the case over the last couple of days. Remember, the European model started this winter weather event. It started it out. The GFS was fighting against it. GFS had a cold rain for the majority of the state, unless you were in far northwestern Arkansas up there in Washington and Benton County. What has happened with the GFS is it has caved to the Euro solution, and it has gone further to the south and further to the east. So we're noting that potential, but this is a 20% chance of happening. So I want to reassure you guys right now, don't go screenshotting this live stream and saying, hey, they're saying this is going to be 100%. No need for all that. This is a 20% right now. I would favor this scenario number 1 versus scenario number 2. Scenario number 2 has a 20% chance of happening right now, but I'm just kind of keeping it in my back pocket just to be on the safe side, especially if the southern trend continues with this here. But I said before, medium across the majority, and in higher elevations, I'd say the Ozarks upwards to downwards to the Ouachitas. That's going to be the highest area, the highest potential of seeing accumulating snowfall as we get towards Tuesday night and Wednesday morning. But that does not mean those areas outside of the Ouachitas or the Ozarks is not going to see anything. It doesn't mean that at all. So let's take a look at guidance. And while I'm here, give me 1 second, I'm going to switch this over to our comments, but I have to make sure our chat box is up. So everybody's tuning in and stuff like that. Montana, thank you for that comment. We really do appreciate you guys that are patient with us and give us all the comments and stuff like not comments, the compliments and everything like that. We really do appreciate you guys. Winter weather forecasting is not for the weak. It's extremely difficult. It's frustrating on both ends. We really do appreciate you guys for being here and being patient with us. Okay, so Let me see here. Just now tuning in and stuff like that. So, Josh, I'm just asking. Everybody's asking about how many, how much, how many. Excuse me. Let me rephrase that. Everyone's asking about the snowfall accumulation. Like I mentioned before, you're not going to get an accumulation map out of me right now. It's Saturday. We're talking Tuesday night into Wednesday. You're not getting an accumulation map out with me right now because there's still so much uncertainty on this, and I'm paying attention to the southern trend with this, especially with the euro. The euro has been, I mean, excellent with nailing this system down as of now. So I'm paying attention to that right now, but it's just too much uncertainty to kind of pinpoint how much snow is going to be seen here or how much snow is going to be seen there. But I can tell you the chances of seeing accumulating snowfall is pretty high for our folks up there in northwestern Arkansas. But this is not going to be just a Northwest Arkansas show. This is going to be a good amount to stay here. So this is late Monday night into Tuesday. But what I'm going to do here for just a bit is I'm going to stop this at Monday night. And I'm going to talk about Monday night for a reason, because Monday night is going to be very crucial for this event. You're going to have cloud cover in place for much of the day tomorrow and probably half of your Monday. That cloud cover is going to break by the time we get towards late Monday night into Tuesday. Look what happens here. So you can see this is the European model solution. I'm using the euro right now because it's been doing excellent with this system here. But let's take a look. So this is Tuesday morning. I'm going to stop it right here. Look at your temperatures. 20s in North Arkansas, near freezing in Central, and down in the Southern Arkansas, you're in the mid to upper 30s. I have seen cases before where you have gone completely clear the night before the winter weather event. Cloud cover comes in first thing that morning, and your temperatures struggle throughout the day, especially with easterly to northeasterly winds. So I'm saying right now, paying attention to the temperatures for Tuesday because they will make or break this event here. But you can see what happens. This is the Euro solution, and this is what I'm kind of arguing with right now, because this only way you get to 50 on Tuesday is if you have cloud breaks, you have sunshine kind of peeking out. So we'd have to wait and see what happens with that. But with the lift of the system coming in, that will heavily support the potential of seeing cloud cover throughout much of the day on Tuesday. So just kind of watch that closely here. But regardless of what happens with that, you can see the temperatures really start to fall by the time we get towards your Tuesday evening and in the Tuesday night time frame. And then there we are right around 9 o'clock. Temperatures 34, 35 degrees across the state. Higher elevations, you're near freezing. Now, the biggest thing I've seen as well is it's 34, 35 degrees. We're not going to see any snow. That's not the case. I'm going to debunk that right now. You can still see snowfall at 34 to 35 degrees. The only thing it does, it mitigates your road conditions. That's all it does. Basically, your road conditions will be 80% pretty good. It would be pretty good. You still have to watch out, especially for those areas that get at freezing. But for the road conditions, you would be relatively fine. It's just the grassy surfaces, the elevated surfaces as well, you'd have to watch out for, especially if you're on those hills. You'd have to keep an eye on that. And this would really support that heavy, wet snow, those big snowflakes that falls. That would really help, especially with this type of setup here. So just kind of keep that in mind if you were to use the European model here. But I don't want to hear anything about, you're not going to see snow at 34, 35 degrees. It can happen. And we've seen it happen a million times, especially here in Arkansas. So this is what it does. And I want to zoom this down to Arkansas real quickly here. And not California. Let's go to Arkansas real fast. And there it is. So this is what the European model is trying to throw out by the time we get towards 9 o'clock Tuesday evening. Now, I will say this. With the European model solution, look what it does. Down here in southeastern Arkansas, you're going to have to watch this. This is very, very crucial of what happens with the temperatures and everything like that. You got to pay attention to what happens Monday night and early Tuesday morning. If you get that cloud break, you clear out Monday night, and the clouds move in first thing Tuesday morning, you're going to struggle with those temperatures, and that means temperatures will not have a very hard time falling for this event here. So just kind of keep that in mind across the board. So let me see here. Yeah, so Ethan, I see that. We really need an app. That's the main goal this year. We didn't have that last year. This is our goal for this year. So let me see here. Let me go over here. So I can't wait to hear the accumulations and stuff like that. Like I said before, Janet, accumulations right now, let's kind of talk about that real quickly, because that's been the number one thing everyone's been kind of figuring out and stuff like that. Let's talk about accumulation here. So this is This is the European model solution with this. And like I said, you're trying to put an accumulation map out for everybody to see. You're talking the entire public seeing this, and you're trying to pinpoint best areas of seeing accumulation. Now, if you go with the Euro, the European model solution, look what happens. Higher elevations, Ozarks, Ouachitas, over a half a foot of snow. Down in the valleys, you're talking a good 3 to 5 inch snowfall. Here in the metro, we're talking 3. Basically, that I-30 to I-40 corridor would stand the best shot of seeing snowfall. So basically, it translates back to the European model solution, and it translates back to our scenario 1 solution where we had the chance of snowfall for north and central and western Arkansas. So that would be the biggest thing that we'd have to watch with the European model. But now let's take a look at this. Now, this is going to be the GFS, and I'm warning you right now, the GFS is not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Like, don't even try to account for this, because the GFS is likely on drugs. But the biggest thing is with the GFS, and you can take the idea. Let's take the idea of the GFS. Not really so much as, it's going to happen the exact amount, but let's take the idea. Look what happens. You go from a half a foot of snow to over a foot of snow with the GFS. So you're trying to make an accumulation map out right now is not going to happen. You're shooting in a dark room, trying to hit the target, and it's not going to happen with that. So the best shot of seeing accumulating snow is pretty great for your area, and that's how it's going to stand. But our accumulation maps, I'm going to try my hardest to get one out by late tomorrow. That's the main goal, either late tomorrow or first thing Monday morning here. But I'm kind of delaying it to try to see if model guidance can come into a better convergence on the overall snowfall accumulation potential here. So let me see here. So yeah, that's the biggest thing, Tammy. I love that comment. I absolutely love that comment. And that's the biggest thing with winter weather forecasting. A lot of people don't understand. If it doesn't happen, that's how weather works here. We can't 100% guarantee it's gonna happen in your specific location. The potential is there. That's the only thing we can tell you. The potential is there, and we can do our hardest to forecast it. But if it doesn't happen in your area, you shouldn't be getting mad about it. That's the biggest thing. So I love your comment, Tammy. If it doesn't happen, there's nothing we can do about it across the board. So let's see. Yell County, do you think we will see snow? I think the majority of the area will. I've seen enough evidence for computer model guidance and the overall pattern, and I want to stress this too. Let's talk about this. And you really haven't seen this, kind of the scientific version of why we haven't seen, why we're seeing this snowfall potential with this. So I'm going to take a look at what we call the EPO, or the East Pacific Oscillation. And basically, if you want snowfall here in Arkansas, you want a decent shot, you need it to be negative. You don't need this to be positive. And that's what happened back in December when we had that Arctic blast coming through, and it was in its positive phase. That's why a lot of people didn't really see a lot of snow, except I think northwestern Arkansas. Those were the only areas that saw it. But the majority of the area only got a dusting, half an inch at max. So with this being in a negative, basically, first and foremost, this highly favors a southern track. This favors a southern track to a T right here. And it also helps bring that cold air down from Canada as well. So that's what really kind of sets the stage for seeing winter weather here in Arkansas. So I just wanted to kind of show you guys that real fast. A lot of people really haven't talked about the EPO, which is kind of like I said before, getting into the scientific things of why you're seeing this potential. But that's the biggest driver behind this winter weather potential is the EPO. So let's go back over to the Euro. And like I said before, the Euro has been doing, excellent with this event here. And a lot of people doubted it because you had the GFS showing rain, and even in some cases, it had a severe threat for us here in Arkansas. Luckily, we're not on the other side of this, because this is a very powerful system coming in as we get towards your Tuesday and Wednesday time frame. If we were on the warm side of this, unfortunately, we'd be talking about more severe weather here in Arkansas, but we're looking at winter weather potential with this. So, and also, I want to throw this out as well. This is Tuesday morning, getting close to the lunchtime time frame. I wouldn't rule out rain and sleet. I think your profiles may support some sleet mixed in with the rain on the onset before it completely transitions over to snowfall by the time we get towards your Tuesday night time frame, as your colder temperatures aloft begins to come in. So That's gonna be the biggest thing here. Let me see here. I'm gonna go over everything right now. Also, Noah, Dustin, if y'all can go and moderate comments, please let me know with that as well. So yeah, this is gonna be posted on the page and everything like that. Yeah, I know. That's the biggest thing with the GFS, and it's weird. And you know what's weird with the GFS because you should have seen it a couple of days ago. It darn near had a severe threat in southeast Arkansas. That's how warm it was the last couple of days. The Euro's been consistently showing the snowfall potential, while the GFS has been back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. One time it starts snow, other time it's raining severe. It's been back and forth. But the European model has been the brick wall. It's been the consistent model over the last, I'd say, last week or so, showing this potential with this. So that's going to be the biggest thing with that. But yeah, I know the GFS, if it were to happen, that would be, obviously a historic event, but you can't really take the GFS for granted. But this is what it does. And in the perspective of the GFS, you got to give credit where credit's due. It does show how dynamically powerful this system is and what it's capable of doing. So basically what would happen is you would have basically a deformation band set up right here in northern Arkansas, down to northwest Arkansas, and this would include down into the valleys as well. And you would have that heavy snow kind of set up right in that area. Well, central Arkansas would still see it. Northwest Arkansas, northern Arkansas would kind of steal the show with this heavy snowfall potential. And it could last, by the way, all the way till lunch on Wednesday, with some additional accumulations being possible with that as well. So just kind of keep that in mind. But the GFS accumulation map is way out there right now. So what about northeast Arkansas? A lot of people really haven't been talking about northeastern Arkansas. All you've been really hearing is western and northwestern Arkansas, stuff like that. I do believe you guys will see snowfall up there as well. It will depend on the track of the low, because what I'm really worried about, especially for my folks over here in eastern and northeastern Arkansas, depending on the track of the low, you may get some warm air advection kind of flowing in. You can see this clearly with the European model, but you can get some warm air advection kind of filtering into eastern and southeastern Arkansas, and that could screw you guys of seeing snowfall up there. And I've seen that scenario play out before as well. So I do believe you will have a shot, especially from Jonesboro, points north and west from that area. But I'd say closer to Memphis, down to Arkansas County, down to El Dorado, the Lake Village area. Unless this low tracks further to the south and east, you guys aren't going to see much down there. And I think what will end up happening as the low pulls away, you should transition this all to snow Wednesday morning. So that will be your best shot of seeing winter weather as we get towards Wednesday morning if you're in southern and southeastern Arkansas. But right now, just too much uncertainty to have winter precipitation chances down there at the same time here. So, yeah, I know that's the biggest thing. The Discord app, the biggest thing with the Discord app is it's gotten a lot more organized than it was before. And it's our no one best friend right now outside of that, because Facebook limits our posting. Some people will see our viral posts while other people won't. So that's why we have Discord, because everybody can kind of see what's going on. So I would really urge you to re-download it and stuff like that. It's very easy. We navigated everything easier than it was before. But I would really urge it, because Facebook does not send the notifications out, and I can't guarantee that you're going to see every single post that we make on Facebook, which is extremely weird and frustrating, but that's how it is. So let me see here. So maybe that's the number one question. Will this stick around or will it melt? It's going to melt, because it's going to be that heavy, wet snow, and temperatures are going to rapidly get back into the 30s and 40s. It's not going to be like what we saw in 2021, where we had the temperatures go below zero behind the snow event. This is during the day on Wednesday, and this is the 18Z Euro. So let's take this out to 12Z. Let's go out a little further, and then you can see what happens on Wednesday. Now, I want to urge some caution here, too, especially in western, northwestern Arkansas. If you see over a half a foot of snow, you're not getting above freezing. It's not going to happen. So the rest of the area where you don't see a lot of snowfall, you're able to get into the 40s. So if you do see it, it's going to melt pretty quickly. In the roll conditions as of now, I'd say Tuesday night, Wednesday morning, I would watch it. Even if you get that heavy wet snow and it's 34, 35 degrees, you know how Arkansas travelers are. You know how it is. So I'd urge caution first thing Wednesday morning, but during the day on Wednesday, you get the sun out, things should start to melt, and you should be good to go here. Now, what I'm really worried about is this. This is Wednesday night and early Thursday morning. You get the snowfall to melt, especially if it's heavy, wet snow. All that standing water on the roadways could lead to a little bit of black ice first thing Thursday morning, depending on how low you get. So that's the number one question. I do like that question, Mandy. That's the biggest thing is it's going to melt pretty quick. It's not going to stick around for 4 or 5 days like what we saw in 2021. It's going to be in and out pretty quick across the area here. So let me see here. So yeah, let's have a repeat of 2010 up there in northwestern Arkansas, where you guys had 20 inches of snow up there. I'm not going to say that's going to happen. I will say this, especially with my folks up there in northwestern Arkansas. Let's go back to our map real fast. I haven't accounted for this scenario just yet, and I've been talking to a couple of my weather friends about this particular scenario. You need to watch that southeast trend, especially up there in northwestern Arkansas. I don't think it's going to cut you guys off, but it's going to bring that heavy snow axis further to the south and east. So you need to watch that closely, because if this thing trends further and further south, drier air is going to come in from the north and kill you guys as threat up there in northwestern Arkansas. I haven't done it yet because there's no evidence of that occurring, but you need to watch that trend, because I have seen that occur as well up there in northwestern Arkansas, where system takes that too far south track, favors really central and south Arkansas, and northern Arkansas northwest. You hardly see much up there because you have too many dry air issues here. But I think you have enough moisture with this setup that you should not have that problem. But just keep an eye on it. I always have that multiple game plan in place here. So could you put up the European model accumulation map once again? Like I said before, guys, I want to stress this right now. I get it. Everybody's trying to get accumulation numbers right now. It's not going to happen. You don't want to take the European model or the GFS or any other model accumulations to heart right now. You don't want to do it because it will burn you at the end of the day. That's why we don't have an accumulation map out right now, because of that. So I will show it again. I'll show you guys what it's looked like. But at this moment, don't take it as it's going to happen, because things will change over the next 12 to 36 hours here. But this is the European model solution. Favors really western and northern Arkansas. Down in the central Arkansas, you can see this is the 12Z, by the way. Let's go to 18Z. 18Z increased this a little bit more for central, but you can see a good 1 and 3 here in central. Higher accumulations in northern and western Arkansas, down in southwestern Arkansas, and I still 4 down here in southeast Arkansas. I'm not ruling you guys out just yet. I got a cold rain down there right now, but I'm not ruling you guys out down here just yet. We're gonna keep an eye on that at this point here. Okay, so let me see here. Yeah, so let me see. How's the year doing for central Arkansas? 2 years ago, I had 3 to 4 inches of snow, but we almost got 16. And that's every setup. Every setup is different. You don't want to trust model guidance 100%. That's why I'm urging so much about this accumulation map. And when the GFS came out last night, let's take a look at the GFS. Let's take a look at GFS and when it came out last night with the 0Z. And when it showed this, and I'm going to see if I can pull this up. There it is right there. So when it showed this last night, where, I mean, it just crippled Arkansas with a foot of snow and everything like that, I immediately made a post on the page and I told people immediately, don't buy it, don't buy it, don't buy it, because this is what the GFS does. This is what raw computer model data does. It has that one solution and it goes bonkers with it. So that's why I'm saying don't buy the accumulation maps right now here. But every setup is different. Mesoscale details can lead to somewhere not seeing any snowfall, to other areas seeing almost a foot of snow and stuff like that. It's too early for all that right now. But the Euro at this moment, I think, has the best solution. I think this, if there were to be something I would trust with an accumulation map, I would probably stick with Euro with this in terms of the overall broad nature of the snowfall potential. It does account southern Arkansas for the quick transition Wednesday morning as the cold air leaves out. The banding setting up right there on I-30 from Texarkana to Little Rock up to Jonesboro, and then your higher accumulations up there in northern and western Arkansas. So I think the GFS is just, I don't even know about the GFS. GFS is way out there, but the Euro, I think the Euro has the best solution for now, but we'll keep an eye on it here. But if you stay with me for long enough in this live stream, we are going to get some 0Z data in and kind of go over everything with that. I did not mean to pull that up. Let's go back over to precipitation. So it's still at 18Z right now, but this is the NAM. And I haven't really talked about the NAM too much here, but you can see heavy snow event out here in the Texas area, over here in Oklahoma. Brandon, if you're listening to this live stream, don't go look at the NAM because that's what it's trying to do. It's trying to cut off northern Oklahoma. I got a friend that lives out there. But anyways, this is what it's wanting to do. And this is another scenario that you have to keep an eye on here. See that banding right there that goes from Jonesboro to Little Rock all the way down to the Queen? South of that, cold rain. North of that, heavy snow. So basically, Little Rock would get slammed with heavy snow, but to the north would be heavy snow, but to the south of that would be a cold rain down here. And like I said, this is the NAM, 84 hours out. Zero Z is probably going to bring this further to the south, so we'll have to wait and see what happens with that here. Okay, so Jeremy, I'm not, like I said before, I want to urge this to you guys. I'm not ignoring anybody's comment. I don't know how many times I got to tell everybody this. I'm not ignoring anyone's comment. You got to realize it's your question, and you got a million other questions ahead of you. I'm not ignoring anybody's comments, guys. I just want to stress that right now. But for the Hot Springs area, to answer your question, you do have a shot of seeing accumulating snowfall. But right now, certain totals for certain cities is not going to happen. It's way, way, way too early for that at this point. So let me see here. And the biggest thing, guys, like I said before, with Discord, we've made it extremely easy for everybody to come in, okay? I'm urging it right now because Facebook is not reliable with getting every single one of our posts. It's not. Or doesn't mean we're leaving Facebook. We're not leaving Facebook at all. But Discord is a really good server to use, guys. I promise you guys. It's so easy to use. We went in. We customized everything. You can go in. It's not as chaotic as it was because you got to realize something. When Discord went off the first time, we had everybody trying to join in. Now we had a chance to really get in, organize everything, and everything's easier to get to with that. And everybody that's on it right now would agree with me. So keep that in mind. Don't ignore Discord or anything like that. It's not confusing. I promise you guys, everything's organized and you're good to go in there at this point. Okay, so let me see here. We'll go over everything here. So Tina, I love your comment as well. Winter weather, especially here in Arkansas, is very hard to predict because you're just so far south. Everything has to come together to see winter weather. And when I mean everything, everything has to come together. I'm talking the cold air, the moisture, your lift, everything has to come together to get winter weather here in Arkansas. It's so much easier to get it if you're in Iowa or you're in Minnesota or you're in the northern plains and stuff like that. It's so much easier to get it up there because you already have the cold air. You just need the moisture. And 9 times out of 10, you're going to have a strong storm system come out from the west. But this particular area down here in Arkansas, you're so much closer to the Gulf of Mexico. You're so much closer to that warm air that it's so hard to get a winter weather set up here. And a lot of people don't understand that. That winter weather is a lot harder to forecast versus severe weather. Severe weather, no forecast is going to be 100% accurate. That's how it's going to be. But severe weather is a little easier to forecast because all you really need is just to get the moisture here and get your environment conducive for severe weather. But if you have winter weather, you have to get the cold air in place. And we have the Ozark Mountains in northwest Arkansas that kind of acts like a wall. And sometimes it helps us and sometimes it doesn't. So that's why winter weather is so hard to forecast here in Arkansas. And I get it. A lot of people get frustrated at us, you know, when they don't see snowfall or they don't see winter weather, stuff like that. But you got to realize, forecasting it is not easy, and it's not for the weak either. I promise you, especially for us here in Arkansas. But if you're in the northern plains, you've got it made up there. You got it made because you already have the cold air source up there to support winter weather here. So I'm going to go back over to this, and I'm going to leave it with this right now. So I'm kind of leave this broad brush. And everybody's asking about timing too. Timing right now, I would say anything after lunch on Tuesday, and then into the evening on Tuesday, and into first thing Wednesday morning. That's going to be your time frame with this here. And Natalie, anytime. I keep everything straightforward and everything like that. I don't sugarcoat anything or get you guys all hyped up for attention or anything like that. I don't do none of that. I tell you guys how it is and how it's going to be with this. So if you're in South Arkansas right now, southeast, I've got a cold rain down there. I'll be real curious to see what happens over the next 2 days. This yellow area that I have from Brinkley to Memphis down to Texarkana, I'd say that would probably encompass much of southern Arkansas because what will happen with the system lifts away, cold air rapidly filters in, and you may experience that brief transition over, but the accumulating snowfall will be greater across central, northern, and across western Arkansas at this current time here. So let me see here. I'm going to go over everything right there. So thanks for pronouncing my name correct anytime. I'm glad I didn't butcher that. Let me see here. Also, if you want to know how you can join Discord, it is in the link below. And also, one more thing, it is 1,000,000 times free. Nothing on here is, we don't charge you guys for anything or anything like that. If you guys want to donate, that's awesome. That's great. That's great. But we don't charge anything here in Arkansas Little Watchers. Everything we believe weather should be free, and it should always be free. So Discord is 100% free. And the things we've got planned for that server is off the charts. I mean, it is amazing. So go ahead and join it. I promise you guys it's going to be fun. Let me see here. So let me see. I'm just zooming in. So the Kensett area, what's going on, Shelton? I hadn't seen you in a little bit, but up there in White County, I think you got a good shot up there in northern Arkansas. I think you got a good shot of seeing accumulating snowfall with this. And I would dare say, per the Euro, if trends were to hold, I wouldn't be shocked this heavy snow area, and I know this was a botch in the graphic. This heavy snow area kind of gets expanded a little bit to the east. We'll see what happens over the next couple of days. What has really helped us out is we finally got this bad boy on shore. We're finally getting data in from it, and we can finally get a pinpoint of what's going to happen over the next 2 days here. So everyone, don't forget your milk and bread. I would say eggs, but that's too expensive. Come on. You ain't wrong about that. But anyways, let me see here. Yeah, and I know another thing I saw that as well is everything's starting to bloom already, and that's because temperatures have been really warm. Because, the last 2 events we've had has been back-to-back severe weather. Temperatures have been in the 60s and 70s. Everything is starting to bloom up. I would really hate to get some kind of freeze or anything late month or in February, but we'll have to wait and see what happens with that here. So, Mark, that's a great question. How much do you expect this forecast to change? North Arkansas, I think you are solid. 100. I think you're good in North Arkansas. That area in blue, I'd say from Fort Smith to Russellville to Conway up to Jonesboro, Blytheville, I'd give you 100 right now. I think you're solid. Anything south there is a big question mark right now, because what I'm noticing, and Derek has been sitting here kind of going over the data and everything like that. I've noticed that south and east trend. I've noticed that over the last couple of days here. So let's go to scenario 2. And I have this, like I said, this is like a back pocket kind of map just in case it were to happen. I have this ready to go just to be on the safe side here. But if that trend were to continue, and I saw this with one particular model, right? Let me go over, I think it was the RDPS, if I'm correct. It had that potential kind of setting up with the low pressure, like riding along the Gulf Coast and everything like that here. So it's not going to show with the accumulation. It's just, okay, so it's not that far out just yet. But basically, let's go over to it real fast, see if I can switch this over to that. So this is the RGM model, and it has a heavy snow across northern Arkansas, higher elevations. I don't like what it's doing in the river valley. I've seen that set up before, but keep in mind something too. All these model guidance right now is getting into what we call the medium range. It's about that 80 to 84 hour time frame. Things are going to change a lot before we get to Tuesday. I'm urging that right now. This is not going to be the last time you guys are going to see me live either. Things are going to change a lot by the time we get towards Tuesday. So keep that in mind. We're going to be watching it close. I would fully expect, by the way, especially my folks in northern and western Arkansas, probably as early as late tomorrow or first thing Monday morning. You can see some winter storm watches start going out and stuff like that. So just kind of keep that in mind. We'll keep an eye on that. But for right now, I'd say just monitor the forecast. But North Arkansas, I'm pretty certain you guys are going to see it up there in North Arkansas. There's no getting away from it up there. But in central and south is where the biggest question mark is going to remain at this given junction here. And it's all going to be dependent on this. And we're going to go over and we're going to take a look at the south central United States here. It's all going to be dependent on our little friend, the low pressure down here in southeastern Texas. Where does she go? Where does she go? Does she go into southern Arkansas, or does she go along the Gulf Coast? She goes along the Gulf Coast. This heavy snow gets brought further south. If she goes into southern Arkansas, the heavy snow gets lifted north. So that's the biggest question mark right now here. And we've had those scenario maps out for the last 2 days to kind of talk about that potential. But where does that area of low pressure go will be the biggest key on who sees what. And you can see what it does with the GFS. GFS at one point, and this is why I don't like using the GFS at all, at one point had this area of low pressure up here in northern Arkansas, which would have brought a severe threat into southern Arkansas because you'd have had 60-degree dew points surging north. So you've seen the progression of the GFS over the last couple of days here. It's remarkable, but it's definitely came in line with the European model at this point. So Rose, yeah, I can confirm it's 100% free, and it's a great way. That's another thing. It's a great way to get questions answered because we can't get you guys a lot on Facebook. Get on Discord. You can talk to us personally on there. Like I said before, we're not leaving Facebook or anything like that. We love Facebook. We wouldn't be here without it. But the algorithm needs to change because it's getting to the point that it's getting almost life-threatening, especially during severe weather. So that's where Discord's coming in. It's going to help you guys get the alerts and everything like that. And those servers in there, even though they're organized, you can go in and mute them as well. So that way you're not getting, bugged to death notifications, and only get the notifications if there's an alert for your area. So just kind of keep that in mind across the board. So Shelton, yeah, that is a potential up there. Up there in northern Arkansas, I'd watch it. It just, like I said, it depends on this area of low pressure. Where does she go? If she rises on the Gulf Coast, it's going to be that classic heavy snow event for us in Arkansas. I would say you can see with people with the GFS what it wants to do. The only reason why North Arkansas gets spared with this is because the track of the low goes a little bit further to the north. Had this stayed on that Gulf Coast track, dry air would have been coming in up there. And I'm going to take a look at that real quick. This is going to be your PWATs. And you can see what I mean. So there's your moisture surge. I'm really worried about eastern and southeastern Arkansas. I'm not seeing anything out of this because you've got warm air vection coming in. There's going to be some kind of boundary that's going to set up right there in eastern Arkansas that's going to keep you guys from seeing it, unfortunately. But unless this thing trends further south, that happens, then what will happen is you can see that drier air coming in on the backside of this, and I'm really worried that this trends south, that it could cut some areas up here in northern northwestern Arkansas. So that's why I'm saying you guys are seeing that foot of snow. Everybody, somebody out there is posting it on social media. It's probably going viral and everything like that. But you got to look at the bigger picture. If this thing trends south, dry air is going to come in from the northeast, and it's going to cut you guys off up there in northwest Arkansas. So keep an eye on that for right now. I'm not putting it in the forecast as of yet because there's just not enough evidence to support it. But just watch it because I've seen setups like that happen before where this thing has trended further south and North Arkansas ends up getting screwed out of it. So what is the chance that this thing trends further to the south? Matt, to answer your question, that's a really good question. Let's zoom this out to the countrywide view and let's take a look at your overall pattern. Let's start from your pattern and work your way down to the surface here. So let's go out to the 500 millibar area. And this is what we've got. We've got a trough area of low pressure that's going to be moving through the state. Your 500 millibar low is going to go right through the state. Classic setup for heavy snow. But here's your key factors. Okay, your southeast ridge. Your southeast ridge needs to be watched. And I've seen the GFS, and like I said before, the GFS should never be taken 100%. But your ridging's out here in Cuba and out here in the Atlantic. At one point, it had this ridge upwards into the eastern Gulf of Mexico, which would have brought a severe threat, a rather significant severe threat here in Arkansas. Fortunately for us, it came to its senses and it backed off. So if that were to continue, and your southeast ridge continues to back off even more, that will support a more southern track with this, and that's where you would get the snowfall potential to become greater across central Arkansas and those areas. So you really need this thing to go south. And I'm going to stress this right now with the orientation of the trough. It favors a South Texas, southeastern Louisiana onto the Alabama area track, which will put a severe threat along the eastern Gulf Coast, and will put a heavy snow threat here in Arkansas. I think that will be your setup. I think scenario 2 is 20% right now, but it can't be ignored. It cannot be ignored, especially if this thing continues to trend further to the south here. But like I said before, we'll keep an eye on it. But you can see what ended up happening with the GFS here. You can see this is the 12Z right here, and let's go out to the 18Z. So this is the 18Z, And the agency is relatively in the same area, but you see it's a lot stronger with the low. So just something to worth note here with the GFS. And let's take it to the Euro. And like I said, the Euro's been doing an excellent job with this. And what it does is it's more confined, more compact down here along the Red River, pushes through Arkansas, and that's where you get your setup here. But I'm really thinking this is going to come south. Look at your track. Your jet goes right through southern Texas, southeast Louisiana, into central Mississippi, and then Alabama. That is a classic track for us here in Arkansas. And the last time I saw a track of favorite of this magnitude would be, you would have to go back, I think, to 2012. Not saying those two events are going to be similar, but it's a relatively same kind of pattern here, because you've got severe weather along the Gulf Coast, and you have the snow threat back here in Arkansas. So you can see what the European model does. Your low pressure is here. It's a little bit further to the south, and there's your area of low pressure right there. It comes right through here, and you can see the track goes from South Texas, southeast Louisiana, and then, like so forth, it's still struggling with the low because you're still 84 hours out. But what it does, it tries to occlude back to the northwest. Now, if that doesn't occur, Arkansas is going to get slammed with heavy snow. But if it does occlude back to the northwest, then eastern and southeastern Arkansas would get screwed out of snow, while central and western northwestern Arkansas would see a good amount. So to kind of sum up all that into one statement, Matt, it would be, I would see it happening here. So when I asked about the expansion of the severe threat last event, it expanded further, so I'm trying to help out. Yeah, he's the guy, by the way. Every time we had a severe threat, he said they'll go north and east. And that's what happened with the next run, north and east, north and east. And it ended up being, I think, at one point, the entire state. So that's going to be the biggest thing here. So, yeah, stay tuned for totals. Likely tomorrow is going to be our first accumulation map here. I'm trying to hold it off as much as possible to get a better convergence on the totals. But I'd say probably look out late tomorrow for the accumulation map here. But if I don't have a certainty on what's going to happen with it, then I will probably delay it the first thing Monday morning here. But just look forward to late tomorrow evening. That's going to be the biggest thing with that here, okay? So everybody's kind of asking, what about the River Valley? What about Central Arkansas? Same thing. I'm reiterating the same thing I said over and over and over again. The biggest shot is going to be here. Let me go back over to our map real fast here. So this is what we're looking at this point. We go back over to scenario number 1. Scenario number 1 stands the best shot of happening at this point, because I'm including the including low trying to go back to the northwest, which I'm going to keep an eye on that. But anyways, all snow, Memphis, Little Rock, Texarkana, that's Central Arkansas, the River Valley as well. Heavy snow potential, the Ozarks, and the Ouachita. So it's going to be your best. That's going to be your near 100% chance of seeing heavy snow in those areas, especially in higher elevations. But down in the valleys, down to where our area is, you would still see the snowfall potential at this point. But it's just way too much uncertainty to put a accumulation map out right now. It's still premature at this point. So. Let me see here. Yeah, that's what we can say. Yeah, if you can get on, that's awesome. Like I said before, Discord is not, we're not charging anything for Discord or anything like that. It's super easy. It's better organized than it was at first. But I would really recommend for you guys to get on there. It would really help us out because, like I said, Facebook's algorithm is it's weird and it's very, very frustrating. Unless you know how to use it. I don't just yet. I'm still researching everything about it, but I would recommend it because it would be your best shot with this. But it doesn't mean we're leaving Facebook at this point. Now, what does the NAM say? Do I really want to show you the NAM model? Because the NAM, it does slam. I'm just going to tell you this right now, accumulations-wise, it does slam Central Arkansas. Don't buy the snowfall totals, guys. And the 0Z's not coming out. Awesome. So I stayed on long enough for the 0Z to come out. So I'm going to keep this live stream going until the 0Z data comes out with the NAM, and then I'm going to hop off of here. So this is your best time to ask questions and stuff like that. If you need any information, just give me some time, and then I'll be able to get to you. But this is what the NAM model is wanting to do. Let's go over to this. And this is what it wants to do. And like I said before, don't buy it just yet. You are at 84 hours out. Things can change a million times before it gets here. But this is what it generally wants to do. So basically, from Central Arkansas up here in Northern Arkansas, Western Arkansas has a heavy snow. Southern Arkansas gets screwed out of just heavy rainfall down there. But I want to urge, You're 84 hours out. There's a classic saying with the 84-hour out NAM. We treat it as the 240-hour out GFS, which is 10 days out. We treat it like that because the NAM flip-flops so much over runs, it's not even funny. So just kind of keep that in mind across the board. Let me see here. Let me see. We'll go ahead and look at this real fast here. Not going to change anything. 4 days out. I know that's the biggest thing here. So to answer your questions here, by the way, the Discord link is pinned in the comments. YouTube, it may not be, which I'll go and give you guys a link over there, but on Facebook it is. So when will winter storm warnings be issued? That would be on Monday and the Monday night, unless there is significant confidence in seeing significant snowfall. That's gonna be more of a day 1, day 2 thing, which would be your Monday, Tuesday time frame. If there were to be winter storm warnings out, I do believe that will be the case, and it's going to favor the higher elevations. I'm just warning you that right now. It's going to favor the higher elevations at this point, but it does not mean you're not going to see snow. I'm glad you made that comment because I want to address this as well. Those winter storm watches come out. Those winter storm warnings come out. And I don't know why this is the case every time. It does not mean you're not going to see snow. Those watches are out for travel and accumulation, but it does not mean you're not going to see snow. I'm telling you guys this early because I see it being a problem down the road. So keep that in mind. It doesn't mean you're not going to see any snow or anything like that, but those watches and warnings are for accumulation and travel concerns. That's all they're meant for. It's not a, this area's going to see this or this area's going to see that. It's just travel-wise, how's it going to look, any power outage potential, any road condition problems and stuff like that, and how much you're going to overall get. But it doesn't mean you're not going to see that. I'll give you an example. Little Rock was not under a winter storm warning. This was a couple years ago. You had winter storm warning in Northwest Arkansas. Nothing here in Central Arkansas saw a little bit of snow, but the winter storm warning got the accumulating snow. So it doesn't mean you're not going to see anything. It just means in terms of accumulation, in terms of problems that are caused by winter weather. That's what it means at this point. So I've seen that comment about the thunder snow, and before I get to your comment, I've seen that comment about thunder snow potential. With this particular scenario, you have to get a special amount of ingredients to come together to get thunder snow. That's how it is. It's rare for a reason. I can take a look and see. Let's take a look at your instability. First off, this is an M. Let's go over to let's use the GFS. I don't even like using the GFS at this point, but let's use GFS just for an example. First and foremost, you have no surface-based K, which that's a given at this point. Now, I have to switch this over. Give me 1 second, and we're going to go over to this, and then we're going to go back to that real faster. So this is the GFS, and what I want to do right now is I want to look at what we call the most unstable K. Basically, your instability aloft, and you see this a lot during severe weather events, and you will have this especially with those overnight events where we will stress there's no overnight severe threat, but a lot of people will get waken up by that loud thunder and stuff like that because the storm being able to tap into that instability aloft, and it produces that loud booming thunder, and it sounds like severe weather, but in actuality it's not. So this is what it does. This is the most unstable K for your instability aloft. Now, let's take this out all the way. I'm just going to speed blitz this through. Let's take this out all the way to Tuesday night and a Wednesday. Now, there could be, and I mean a very small shot, if you get it, across Southwest Arkansas where that heavy band were set up. Right now, I wouldn't even dare put it into the forecast. I wouldn't even bother with it because what's going to happen is you're going to have a severe threat along the Gulf Coast, which is going to rob your instability here in Arkansas, both your loft and at the surface. So I wouldn't even bother with it here in Arkansas. I would watch it because all you need is, I think 4. That's all you need to get, rumble of thunder, which you would have 100 over here if you go with the GFS. And you know how the GFS is performing right now. It's, out of this world solution. So keep that in mind. We'll have to watch it. But right now, I'd say no. I'd say no to it because you have a severe threat along the Gulf Coast, and it's going to rob your instability from coming north here. But I just want to kind of address that particular comment at this point. So to get to your question here, so you may have answered it already, but could the Euro predict the temperatures colder than what they actually are, and all of Arkansas just gets a cold rain? I have seen setups like that before, and we call those fail-safe setups, where your low pressure tracks further to the north, your warm air comes north, and this all becomes just an all rain, and you deal with a bunch of frustrated people. So in this particular scenario, I would say no, because your overall pattern supports the cold air coming south. Hence the reason why the southeast ridge got just absolutely beat up the way it did, because had it not been for the pattern, the negative, what we call negative EPO, had it not been the case and it was positive, we'd probably been dealing with I'd say, a rather significant severe threat. So that would, I'm going to say no to that right now, but we call that a fail-safe forecast just to be on the safe side, because that can occur. And we have seen setups like that occur before, where everybody was saying snow, 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 and the low pressure tracks to the north, becomes a cold rain, and that's it. So that's a great comment. I do think that needs to be addressed as well. That could also be a potential. If this area's low pressure is further to the north, this becomes a cold rain, except for the higher elevations, and that's in the story right there. So that is the potential. But right now, given the overall pattern, it's going to be very unlikely to get it. But in eastern southeast Arkansas, that's where the question remains right now. How far south does this system get across the board? So let me see here. So Alan, I know I'm confused. What channel, like for live streams? Like I say, we haven't set all that up yet in terms of the live stream stuff like that. It's still a development stage right now with Discord. But I highly recommend people using that, because once we get it going 100%, it's going to be a rather useful tool for you guys. Because, like I said, Facebook will alert you at some points, and some points it won't. Even on my personal side, I'll make a post on a page, and I won't even get a notification about it on my personal Facebook. So that's why we're saying Discord is a really good solution until we get a mobile app going. And then once we get there, we'll go from there. But Discord is a really good thing, guys. And ISO4, I know everybody's kind of, dissing it right now because it's chaotic and stuff like that. That's when it was first going. You got to give us time to go in, get organized, get all the other stuff organized, and then have you guys come in, which we probably should have did at first, but we wanted to do it because we had a severe threat kind of beating down on us at this point. So, Angela, you really haven't missed much. Like I said, if you missed anything, it's going to be on the page. But that's the biggest thing is right now. So, at this given moment, and let me go back over to this, and this is basically what I'm talking about right now. It's just going over the potential scenarios, going over what we could potentially be looking at. Southern Arkansas right now, I'm just going to tell you it's going to be probably a cold rain unless you get to stay in the track further to the south. There is that potential at this moment, but right now as it stands, I'd go a cold rain, but I would watch the backside, especially if you get the cold air to kind of wrap in, and if there's any moisture left over, you may experience a little bit of snow down there, but biggest shot right now, central, northern, and western Arkansas, unless this comes further to the south there. So, Ron, there's so much going on in the feed and Discord. I know your brain just can't take it. How can you see weather posts? Like I said before, patience, 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 patience. Like I said before, I probably shouldn't have put it out to begin with until we got it organized, but we had a severe threat and Facebook was not sending our notifications out like normal. So give us time, guys. Be patient with us. Like I said before, everybody's kind of, coming in, commenting and stuff like that. You do realize that you can go through and mute a bunch of those servers. That way you don't get the notifications. That's the biggest thing. We're going through, we're sorting everything out, but you got to give us time, guys. That's the number one thing. We're humans. We're not robots or anything like that. We can't work 24/7 on stuff like that. So you got to give us time with working on stuff like that. But I'm urging you guys, that is a really good secondary handy tool because it will really help you guys out down the road. Okay, so the time frame out right now, timing right now is still uncertain at this point. I know you guys are probably getting disheartened by that too. Timing right now is still uncertain because it depends on if the system slows down, does it speed up. I'd say right now anything after lunch on Tuesday until I'd say 10 a.m. Wednesday morning will be the time frame for winter weather across the state here. But we'll have more time to kind of specific everything down, give you guys a time frame of what we're looking at across the board. But right now, everything is still kind of working in progress. Everything's still trying to come together at this point. But I'd say afternoon on Tuesday to about 10 a.m. on Wednesday morning. That's going to be the best shot across that. Chris, I didn't even see your comment. If you can re-comment that, let me know. So up there, Jonesboro, yes, we do expect snowfall there in northern Arkansas, northeast Arkansas. Like I said before, and I'm gonna go back to it because I saw it. It may have just gotten buried. I'm gonna go back to this comment right here. I'm not saying it's gonna happen. Like I said before, the overall pattern doesn't support it. But there's going to be a lot of disappointed people if this ends up being a cold rain. That's why we held back for so long, because, a lot of people were kind of asking, why are you guys quiet? Why are you guys not saying much? Because we were treading lightly with this event. Yes, the pattern supports it, and yes, you have the snowfall potential, but there's always that fail-safe at the back. There's always that fail-safe. There's always a catch to these types of setups. That's why we took so long to kind of put everything out, because that's what we're looking at this point. So that's the biggest thing across the area. So let me take a look at this real quickly here. Let me see here. Yes, snow's likely. We'll have to wait and see for trends in terms of the accumulation. At this point, yes, Conway said before, we're still expecting it. But the biggest thing right now is I want to urge you guys. Like I said, I know snow is exciting. I know winter weather is exciting. Everybody gets excited about winter weather. But I don't want to see a single person getting upset if it doesn't happen. And not saying it's not, but I don't want anybody getting upset if it doesn't come to their overall realization. That's why we haven't really said much about accumulations at this current time here. Okay, so at this moment, I'm taking a look at everything. Derek, you made a great point. You got a system ongoing up there right now in the Midwest that's putting down a snowpack right now for us. So that's going to really help us out down the road here. No problem talking about thunder snow as well. Right now, I'd say no. I'm just going to say no to it right now. That's something that you really don't nail that down until you are at day 2. And even then, sometimes it doesn't happen until you're like right at the event. So let me see here. Garland in Montgomery County, same thing. Central Arkansas, I'm getting a lot of questions about that. So question about Central. Winter weather advisory, winter storm watch. As great as we are as reporting, we don't issue the watches, we don't issue the warnings, and we can't guarantee which one is going to be issued. My best bet right now, you could probably get away with a watch because of what the overall banding is setting up with computer monitor guidance. You could probably get away with a watch right now. Further to the south, obviously an advisory. But it just depends on what happens with the computer monitor guidance as we get towards later down the road here. Now, I'm looking at the NAM, the 0Z NAMs coming out, and just kind of going over that right now here. I'm waiting. It's about 27 hours out, so it's not out just yet, but I will say this, and let's go back over to this real fast. So this is the NAM, and this is for tomorrow. I will say this. Don't be shocked tomorrow, if especially some folks may see some snowflakes or a little bit of rain, kind of a mix between the two. No impacts or anything like that, but don't be shocked that happens, especially if you have a little bit moisture kind of left over. Especially up here in northern Arkansas. You may try to sneak it down here because you can see with the blue line, you have the overall profile supportive of snow. It's just no moisture. So don't be shocked if you see it tomorrow. You may see a few flurries or anything like that throughout the day tomorrow. Shouldn't be anything massive. And then it'll be out of here by the time we get towards Sunday night in the early Monday morning. And just something noticeable I'm seeing with the short range guidance right now here. Okay, so let me see here. We'll go over everything right now. Just join when this is for. Like I said, it's in the title. Tuesday to Wednesday. That's when it's for. That right there. And like I said, I'm not saying it's gonna happen. It's a very, very low shot of happening because the overall pattern does support winter weather. But there's also that catch in the forecast. There's always that bust potential. I tell you guys this all the time, even with severe weather. There's always that 20% or that 10 to 20% that this thing could bust and ends up being a cold rain. I'd hate to see that happen. I would absolutely hate to see that happen. But it wouldn't be Arkansas if it didn't happen. So, which means the GFS early on would be correct. But right now, I'd say it has about a 10 to 20% chance of happening. Chris, thank you for your question, and it's a very, very great question. Let's talk about that real quickly here. So I haven't had a lot of opportunity to talk about the wind potential with this. So you got a strengthening low pressure, depending on the track. Let's take a look at your wind gust potential, and you do have that heavy wet snow. Those snowflakes are going to be massive. You're talking probably those half-inch size snowflakes. Those really big snowflakes are going to be falling late Tuesday night and early Wednesday morning here. But let's take a look at your wind gust potential here. And we're going to speed blitz this through all the way to Tuesday night per the euro. And this is the euro, and this is what I'm worried about. Now, obviously, this is away from your heaviest snow, which is in northwestern Arkansas, but you have 20 to 30 mile per hour wind gusts here, which is, by the way, well under a blizzard condition criteria. You need 35 or higher for a 3-hour span to get blizzard conditions here in Arkansas. But anyways, you have 20 to 25 mile per hour winds. If you get enough heavy wet snowfall to accumulate on the power lines, I could see it being an isolated issue. But right now, I think as this moment, I think your power outage threat is very, very low to none at this point. But if you start seeing that heavy wet snow getting on the power lines and stuff, 20 to 25 mile per hour winds, I could see occurring. Not enough right now to generate a map for it unless this thing uptrends from here. But at this moment, I'd say let's take a look, because you're comparing this. This is where your wind gust is at right now. Let's compare it to where the snowfall is. So remember, your 40 mile per hour winds are over here, but your heavier snowfall is back out here where you have 10 to 15 mile per hour wind gusts. So right now per euro, I'd say no, but just keep an eye on it, because this thing strengthens to a 985 or 990 millibar low. You're going to get that pressure gradient, and you're going to get a lot of wind with this. So great question. I really do appreciate that question, Chris. But right now, I'd say very, very low to none at this current time here. So, yeah, so I'll try to figure out. And the biggest thing here, guys, if y'all need help with Discord, feel free to message us. You're not by yourself here at Arkansas Weather Watchers. Remember, we're learning things just as you guys are learning things. So if y'all need help with that, feel free to send it in, guys. Send us the messages and stuff. We got an entire team that's willing to help. If you guys need help with Discord, I promise you guys we will be there. And we've got, I think, 20 people, all those moderators on Discord that will be gladly to help you out with any questions you have and everything like that. So just kind of keep that in mind. And also, Discord is a really, really good way to get in contact with me personally. Like, if you have questions that you may want to ask and stuff like that, it's the best way to get in contact with me personally, because I'm always on there kind of monitoring everything in terms of the server and all the other stuff. So it's a really good way to get directly in contact with me outside of the main Facebook page here. But to answer your question, Chris, that was the biggest thing with that. So let me see here. Somebody made a comment here. So yeah, and you have to mute the notifications you don't want. That's the biggest thing. Let me see here. Let me see. Hello, I'm driving from Little Rock to Dallas Friday through Sunday of this upcoming week. I would say you're good to go. However, and I saw this with the GFS, and this, the GFS is so freaking weird. It had a severe threat next week, and I believe, okay, never mind. The euro is now starting to trend that way as well, which is very, very interesting. Let's take a look at that. This is the European model, and this is for next weekend and into early part of next week. We have a potential severe threat to talk about once again. So the wild winter continues for us here in Arkansas. Snow, tornado, snow, tornado, snow, tornado. The roller coaster still continues for us here in the natural state. But that'll be our next weather maker to watch beyond Tuesday. We'll have to keep an eye on that. But for your travel from Little Rock to Dallas Friday through Sunday, I would say keep an eye out for this potential. You may experience some thunderstorms across the board. But right now, the overall severe threat and everything like that, you're a week out. Don't worry about it too much right now. We'll keep you updated on that once we get past Tuesday into Wednesday here. But at this moment, just watch out for some thunderstorm potential. But you should be good to go for your travel right now. But just keep in touch with us over this upcoming week in terms of that here. So let's go back to that real fast here. I'm taking a look at the NAM. That's why I'm drawing this live stream out as long as possible, because I'm real curious to see what the NAM's going to do. And it's taking its sweet time to come out right now here. So let me see here. Hoping for the Russellville area. Casey, great comment. What about snow ratios? So given that you have a good amount of moisture in place, your ratios are going to range, I'd say, from 5 to 1 to 10 to 1, which will which will kind of limit your overall accumulation. So let's take this for example. If you had a 20-to-1 ratio across the state, you'd probably be looking at a high-end snowfall event where some areas getting almost a foot to almost 2 feet of snow in some places. But your snowfall ratios are much lower with this, which will cut into your accumulations, which would mean you have heavy wet snow. So keep this in mind. This kind of will make this into layman's terms. The lower the snowfall ratio, the wetter the snow. The higher your snowfall ratio is, the drier and more powdery that snow is going to be, which will be supportive of higher accumulations. So if you have a 5-to-1 to 10-to-1 ratio, that's going to favor more heavy, wet snow. The snow that's going to be real great for snowballs and stuff like that, getting out and throwing snowballs and everything. But in terms of overall accumulation, it's going to be a little lower versus if you had the 15-to-1 or the 20-to-1 snowfall ratios. And the only way you get that is if you were to have a much deeper cold air mass coming in with this here. So let's take a look at that real quickly here. And while I'm trying to buy time for the slow NAM to come out, I swear this 0Z NAM is going to be done before Christmas is going to be here before NAM is done. But let's take a look at that real quickly here. So this is going to switch over to that, and this is GFS once again. But let's take a look at your snowfall ratios. So this is your snowfall ratios, and notice something. You got the darker purples and the pinks out here. You know, your snowfall ratios, 20 to 24 out here. But notice here in Arkansas, 5-to-1, 6-to-1, 8-to-1. This is gonna be a heavy, wet snow for us here in Arkansas. It's gonna be a very heavy, wet snow. It's not gonna be that dry powder snow. This is gonna be a real good snow for those that want to getting outside, have snowball fights and everything like that. It's going to be really good for that. I don't know about snow angels because you don't have it won't compact as well, but it'll be really good for the snowball fights and everything like that. So just kind of keep that in mind here across the board. But this is the 18Z GFS. I don't like using the GFS. I do not like using the GFS. It's on drugs half the time. I'll just put it that way. So yeah, NAM isn't accurate this far out. I agree with you on that too. That's why we call it the 240-hour out NAM, because it's as accurate as it is. It's about as accurate as a 10-day forecast from the GFS. It's not going to be super accurate, so it's going to trend within time. But I'm keeping an eye on it because the 0Z is going to get away from the 84-hour out, so we'd be able to get a better visual on what we're looking at here with this setup here. So yeah, show the Canadian model. I'm not going to pull up that comment because we got to be professional, but let's pull up the Canadian model. Let's take a look at that real fast here. And the Canadian has been rather interesting. It's been a cold rain. It's been a cold rain for the last couple of days, and then surprisingly enough, it has an error. It breaks last night, so we couldn't look at the 0Z data. And then the 12Z comes in, like a person lying, coming in and it's like, oh, hey, this is snow. I've had snow the entire time. No, that wasn't the case. It's had rain. So let's take a look at that. Let's take a look at that real quickly here. And this is what it does. So basically goes through the same idea. It has snow from Little Rock to Texarkana to Jonesboro, north and west. It does try to throw a little bit of sleet in there. I don't think you're going to have too big of an ice situation with this. Your cold air aloft is going to be too deep to support cold air here, but not cold air, to support ice. But anyways, you can see the heavy snowfall curve. Your low pressure, by the way, western Mississippi, favorable track for central, western, northern Arkansas. I'm still thinking this is going to trend south and east, but you need to watch that close. But you can see what ends up happening. And by the way, look at here. This is what I mean. This is during the day on Wednesday. System's pulling away, but you have just enough moisture left over to see some snow flurries and some snowflakes during the day on Wednesday. So that's why I'm not discounting it down there in South Arkansas right now. But too much uncertainty precludes a map going out for seeing snowfall down there in South Arkansas. But just take a look at the Canadian model. Let's take a look at accumulations while we're waiting on the NAM to come out. And this is what it does. Relatively, I'd buy these totals. Same thing as the Euro. Higher accumulations in the Ouachitas and up there in the northern, the Ozarks and the Ouachitas, and then further to the south, 2 to 3 here in Little Rock, 1 to 3 up there in North Arkansas, the River Valley over here. Canadians coming hard for freaking Fort Smith, man. That's not even fair. Less than an inch over there because of the colder air. And this is what I'm saying with the Canadian. Canadian is normally the coldest model. It's normally the coldest one, and it's a little bit warmer. It's weird. So that's the biggest thing here. But I will say this. Let's take a look at that. Look at here. So this is during the day, tomorrow, and on Monday. Notice how you have a snowpack in place across the area. Let's go out to this real fast. And I show you that. So this is going to be your key factor. And I keep saying this, and it's getting ignored by a lot of people, but I keep saying this. Your temperatures are going to be up. Your temperatures are overdone by model guidance right now. They're way overdone right now because you have a decent snowpack in place from Kansas to Omaha to down here in northern Missouri over in the Ohio Valley. We finally got snow in the doggone Ohio Valley. So that is where your snowpack is going to be, and that's where your winds are going to kind of filter over that. And it's not going to have a lot of time to moderate before you get to Arkansas. So I think your temperatures are overdone right now with computer model guys. I have that seeking suspicion that's going to be the case. And if that happens, then what will end up happening is that will end up being a what we call a busted situation, but it will be an overperforming situation for us here in Arkansas. So let me see here. We'll go over everything. Yeah, the Canadian model is a joke more times than none. It actually did good last year with the ice event. I would say right now just kind of keep an eye on the Canadian model here, but I think that snowpack up here needs to be watched. I think you've got a decent snowpack in place. Could lead to some temperatures being overperformed down here in Arkansas here. And to address that other comment, Northeast Arkansas is a big question mark right now. I have snow up there right now because I think the colder air is going to win out. But kind of throwing back to what I was talking about before, if you get that system to include back into southeastern Arkansas, it's going to throw that warmer advection into northeastern Arkansas, and that's how you get a rain situation. So that's why it's kind of like I'm going more of a colder solution versus the warmer solution right now. But if it does include back in Arkansas, I could see northeastern Arkansas being screwed out of this and just getting a cold rain. So something that we'll watch close. But I think right now, I think this is a pretty good kind of setup at this point, giving more of a colder solution at this time here. But if this does just include back into Arkansas, I could sneak a mainly cold rain probably from the Blytheville area down into this area here. But right now, it's too much uncertainty right now, and I think model guidance is overdoing the temperatures right now, the temperature profiles right now, and it's not really having a good handle on the system because it just got sampled. So we really don't have a 100% data source from it right now here because all that information is still coming in. It's kind of like the Discord server. It got started up and it got crammed with a lot of information, and now everything's trying to organize better. So that's kind of how it is. So let me see here. Yeah, go take a peek at the 18Z. Do I want to? Before I do that, do I want to, Andrew? You should answer that in the comment. Let me see here. So look at the wind in the Michigan and the north. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The wind coming in from those areas going over the snowpack could lead to temperatures being overdone. That's what I'm worried about at this point. That's why I'm going more of a colder solution. And the overall pattern, the negative EPO and everything like that, supports the colder solution versus the warmer solution at this current time. So if y'all have any more questions, just please let me know. Let me see here. Go over everything right now. Do you know the travel impacts? A lot of people are asking about travel impacts. Don't worry. We're going to have all the information for you guys starting tomorrow evening and going into during the day on Monday, definitely on Monday, and into early Tuesday here. So what does travel impacts look like? From 11 p.m. Tuesday to early Wednesday morning, it really depends on where you are, Sarah. If you're in North Arkansas, I wouldn't recommend it. If you're in South, you should be fine for now, unless this thing decides to take a dip to the south here. So something that we'll just kind of keep an eye on here at this point. So let me see here. But right now, but yeah, to answer your question, that would be the case. So any accumulation data right now? No. There's myself. I'm debunking that right now. No accumulation maps on our side or anything like that because there's just too much uncertainty right now. And I need to see what guidance does over the next 24 hours. Remember, we just got the system onshore. We're just now getting the data from it. So what does that mean for us here in Arkansas? That means that model guidance is getting a better handle and it's going to converge on an idea. Once it does that, I'm pulling the trigger. It's just, I've got the gun loaded up for the accumulation map. Once I get a solid idea, boom, that's what's going to happen. So I'm waiting for the convergence to happen right now. It's just too much uncertainty to put an accumulation map out right now. It's just premature at this point. Once we get towards late tomorrow night, Monday, we should have a much, much better idea by that point. I pray we do. On terms of accumulations, and then we'll probably have a first look out tomorrow night and a much better detailed one as we get towards the day on Monday here. So let me see here. Yeah, now let's go forward to address the comments as well in terms of the accumulation. That's the biggest thing. Accumulations right now are uncertain, and I know a lot of people don't like hearing that. And everybody likes to play the first one on it game. You don't want to be the first. You don't. I'd rather be the last one and be accurate than be the first one and be wrong. So that's the biggest thing right now. Accumulation maps. I'm saying late tomorrow, first look. Monday we'll have a much more detailed one on Monday. But right now it's too early, way too early to get an accumulation map out right now. So could the system slow down? Great question once again. Could the system slow down, and what would it mean for Arkansas? Well, that scenario would have verified and it would have slowed down. Well, what would end up happening is your colder air will be able to come south. Now, it also depends on the track. If your track is talking about, Dustin, I saw your comment, by the way. Anyways, so what will end up happening with that is if your system is further to the south and it slows down, first of all, you look at a pretty prolonged event. It will drag out because the moisture will continuously flow over the colder air. But you will also get that colder air to filter down even more because the system will be able to strengthen more. It'll be able to draw that colder air further south. Be a really good dream scenario for us here in Arkansas if you're a snow fan. But if you're not a snow fan, it'd be one of your worst nightmares. So that's the biggest thing to answer your question. It would mean a higher end accumulation event for us here in Arkansas if it were to slow down. If it starts progressing through, it's a very fast system, your accumulations would still be there, but it'd be cut down because of the progressive nature of the system, which I don't see it right now. I think it's going to be kind of a blend between the both here. So let me see here. Yes, like I said before, Russellville, snow, it's a good bet. Like I said before, a lot of people are going to be upset. This ends up being a cold rain. So you got to have that mindset too. If this ends up being a cold rain, don't be upset about it. Winter weather is not, it's not that serious, folks. Okay, I promise you. If you don't see the snow, it's not the end of the world. We have multiple, we still have February, we still have March. You can see cases in April. This is not going to be our last rodeo, guys. So if you don't see it, no need for the unnecessary drama. But the biggest thing is, yes, it's still on the table at this point. So let me see here. Let me go over everything right now. Sarah, thank you for that comment. I really do appreciate it. There's a lot of hard work that goes into this page. I mean, you would not believe how much hard work goes into these graphics. This is a brand new graphic, by the way. Let me know what you guys think about this. But anyways, all the work that goes into it, they get countless hours of sitting here going over data and everything like that, and just dealing with the general public in general. So I really do appreciate that comment, Sarah. It really means a lot to us. So let me see here. Yeah, 2 4 out for travel impacts tomorrow. Tomorrow's going to be your best scenario at this point. So, Josh, he works today in KWA. He made a great point about the sounding. I mean, those are going to be some big snowflakes coming out Tuesday night and Wednesday. It's gonna be, if you really like getting out, having a snowball fight, this event's going to be awesome. It's going to be a really good event for one of those snowball fight events because those snowflakes are going to be massive across the board. So let me see here. Let me go over to the NAM, see if it finally caught up, and it is out to Monday night. So I guess we can talk about it now since it took forever and a day to load up. So let's talk about this real quickly here. So this is Monday night, and here's your temperature profiles for Monday night. And why is Monday night so important? Because if you get this to occur, and I'm taking a shot in the dark here to see what the NAM's going to do, and presto. So that means you have no cloud cover in place Monday night and Tuesday. Your temperature is going to drop. Temperature is going to probably be in the 20s first thing Tuesday morning. It's going to be cold. It's going to be very cold Tuesday morning. And I've seen setups like this happen a million times. The night before a winter weather event, your cloud cover is gone. It's a clear night. It's so cold. It's 20s. It's super cold. And you get to the day of, cloud cover comes in, and you have no shot of warming up. That's why I'm saying temperatures. I'm really concerned about temperatures being overdone with computer model guidance right now here. So keep that in mind as we get towards Monday night and early Tuesday morning. Something that we're going to watch very, very closely at this time here. So let me see here. So Aaron, great comment. So why do these snow events change to cold rain at the I-30 corridor? And it's because of our good old friend, the Southeast Ridge over there in Cuba. And the Southeast Ridge is our kryptonite here in Arkansas because it always dictates how our weather goes. Like I mentioned before, if you've gone to GFS a couple of days ago, you were looking at a pretty scary, significant, severe weather event getting ready to unfold. I was really concerned about that. That's why I made the original post that there was a potential of it being both, of being severe weather and winter weather, which fortunately for us here in Arkansas, because I don't know about you guys, I'm tired of talking about severe weather. It's time to switch it around to winter weather. So fortunately for us, we've got that switch, and now we're talking about winter weather potential. But why does it change for us in our direct corridor? It's because of the placement of the low and our good old friend, the Southeast Ridge. And if we get the Southeast Ridge to buckle even more, this should bring the snowfall down into southern Arkansas. Something we'll watch closely over the coming days here. Okay, so likely to Washington's most likely, they're going to have the biggest shot of seeing snowfall in the higher elevations, which is not always the case here in Arkansas. But down in the valleys, down in central Arkansas, you still have that shot across the area. So, Dustin, do you have a sign form for a day off work on Wednesday? I think I'm going to need one. If you guys need one, I'll sign it. I'll sign it. See what happens. I don't know if your boss is going to like it, but I'll sign it. You know, just see what happens. I'll sign it. So if you guys can give me a form sitting in the inbox, I'll sign it, especially if your area is a good area of seeing accumulating snow. And let's get that trend going. You know, show it to your boss and see what happens. I'm real curious to see what happens with that. I've never seen that happen before for us. So Janet, love your comment as well. That's what we do. We're always here. We keep you guys safe. We don't overhype anything or anything like that. We always do that for a reason. So let me go over to the NAM real quickly here. And like I said, this thing is, I think Christmas 2023 is going to be here before the NAM is finished, guys. This is ridiculous. But it's at 9 p.m. right now, where temperatures in the 30s, your temperatures are fixing to drop like a rock because you've got temperatures in the 30s, you've got that cloud cover gone, so your temperatures are fixing to get ready to drop if you go with the NAM. But I'm ready for it to kind of finish up here. So when are we getting snow? Tuesday night, Wednesday morning. That's going to be the best time frame across the area. Right now, it's the best time to ask questions right now because next 2 days, it's going to get chaotic. It's going to get very chaotic. And a lot of people, you know, they wait to day one to start asking questions here, and it does not end well. So let me see here. So I'm hearing Berryville anywhere from 1 inch to 10 inches on January the 26th. Oh, that's Thursday. You're not going to see anything on Thursday. So could you give me a more accurate forecast for Northwest Arkansas? I don't know why that took your comment away. So this is the main reason why you don't have an accumulation map out from us right now. That's the number one reason right there, because one place is saying 1 inch, another place is saying about a foot of snow. Is it going to snow 1 inch? Is it going to snow 26 inches? Who knows? So right now, I would say up there in Northwest Arkansas, you do have a shot of seeing some heavy snow, especially in your area, Andrea. Snowfall accumulations right now are uncertain because of the track of the low and the placement of the low pressure, and it could easily shift between you guys getting cut off because of the dry air, which, like I said before, I'm watching that potential, and then also the potential of this thing being a little further north, and you guys get a foot of snow. So that's why the accumulation map is not out with us right now. But I will say this. Let's go over to this map real fast. There's your potential of seeing accumulating snowfall, and it's pretty darn high up there for your area as we get towards Tuesday and into Wednesday. But the potential of seeing, 10 inches of snow or 1 inch of snow and stuff like that is just too uncertain right now. But that's the number one reason why you don't have an accumulation map out for us right now. Life lesson. Sometimes it's best to wait and not be the first one to jump on accumulation map. So let me see here. So I sure hope this keeps coming. You're the first person, and you are a brave person for saying that, because I got a lot of people in Conway that want snowfall. So there's people that don't like snow. That's understandable. A lot of people don't like the snow, and that's perfectly fine with us as well. But you're the first one that's come out of Conway and said they didn't like the snow. So um, just I got you under the protection program. Don't worry, you're good. So will this snow event possibly move further south? That's the $1 million question, and I wish I can go into time and try to figure that out. Right now, I would say no, especially for Southern Arkansas, because it's just depending on the low. Now, like I said, we could wake up 24 hours later, low pulls a 2012. If you guys remember 2012, this thing was, Northern Arkansas, Northern Arkansas, Northern Arkansas, Northwest Arkansas, West. We got to 2 days out, and boy, did that forecast change. So that has always happened. Obviously, data now versus data in 2012 has quote unquote significantly improved since then. I don't like using that because I feel like data could easily improve even more than what it is right now, given where we are in this day and age. But that's a different story for a different day. But to get to your comment, I'm gonna say no for now. But if this thing pulls a 2012 and it does go further south than expected, then that could throw a big wrench in the forecast. So that's why I have this. And let me go back over to that real fast. That's why I have this to account for that southern potential with this here. So something that we just have to keep an eye on as we get towards the next 2 to 3 days here. So yeah, my 5-year-old is excited for the snow. She wants to stay home for school Wednesday and build a snowman. I really hope you guys get snow. I know we're overdue for a snowfall here in Arkansas. I really hope you guys see it and nobody's disappointed. But there's going to be that one person that is. There's going to be a party pooper and get upset over, snow falling out of the sky. Not happening. So it is what it is. But I really do hope you guys see it, especially for the kiddos, because a lot of my memories come from that. Having snowfall back when I was growing up and stuff like that in El Dorado. And I tell Derek this all the time, and it stands as this. When I was living in El Dorado, we had snow almost every 5 seconds. And Central Arkansas would always get screwed out of it. I would make fun of them every time about it. I'm like, hey, you want the snow? Hey, it's right here. You can come on down and get some snow instead of dealing with the cutoff up there in Central Arkansas. But that's the thing. I really do hope you guys see it. We don't do this to get people hyped up about it or anything like that. This is our legitimate thoughts. This is what we're literally looking at this point. I really do hope you guys see it. I really do hope you guys see it. I really don't hope Arkansas doesn't get screwed over by a cold rain here. So let me see here. Bring on the snow. Lost from the Conway. Like I said before, that comment was the only comment I've seen out of the Conway area that didn't want the snow. That's funny. So how much, like I said before, Brian, everybody's asking me accumulation questions. I'm telling you that. I'm just going to tell you straightforward how it is. Not sugarcoating anything. Accumulation right now, you're not going to get it out of me. It's not going to happen. It's too much uncertainty. It's like gambling right now. I'm not gonna gamble on it, the accumulations right now. When I get a better idea, a convergence, then we'll do that. So let's take a look. And this is the newest NAM. And like I said, I keep dragging this out. I do apologize for dragging it out. But this is the best time to ask questions. So there's 0Z NAM. I'm gonna tell you right now. It is overdoing the temperatures. Your temperatures are going to be a lot colder now because you got clear skies, radiation, all that warming in the ground, all that warm air in the ground is going to lift straight up. There's not going to be anything that's going to cap it off or anything like that. I got $20. That says you're going to wake up in the 20s on Tuesday morning. I've got that feeling across the board. But this is what we're looking at here now. Let's take a look at your cloud cover. And like I said, this is the reason why I'm addressing this right now, because this is what's important. Now notice something. This is Monday night, Tuesday, clear skies across the state. Temperatures are going to fall. Temperatures are going to fall. Temperatures are going to fall. I'm telling you this right now. You're going to be in the 20s almost statewide by the time you get towards Tuesday morning. Notice something. You get to daybreak, instant cloud cover. Cloud cover comes in and it prevents the warming. Now you'll still warm up a little bit, but you're not going to get to the 50s with that setup. You're just not. I think you're going to struggle to get out of the 30s. South Arkansas, you'll definitely be in the 40s. Maybe southeastern Arkansas, you have a shot at getting near 50 degrees, but right now I'm betting you're going to wake up in the 20s across the state here. So yeah, timing in the front is the biggest thing. If temperatures drop faster, we can have a larger amount of snow. That's the biggest thing. The front amount, if the cold air, not the cold air, the system, it's not the front we're dealing with, it's the system. If the system is further to the north, then it's going to be a much lower shot here. So I would say easily a winter weather advisory. but you can sneak out. You can sneak out a 20, not 20%. Doggone it, Dustin. I saw that comment. Um, you can sneak out a winter storm watch if needed, especially for our folks in western and northern Arkansas this time here. So we really do appreciate you, Cam. I appreciate y'all for being here. Jeremy, I would say I would really agree with your comments here. So Conway here and snow would be great. I wonder if we're going to get accumulation. Yes, I do agree. Accumulation is going to be on the table with this particular setup here. The reason why I got cloud cover up right now is Dustin. Come on, man. I'm reading my personal messages over here, and it's great. But in here, right now in the Conway area, I'd say you have a best shot at seeing accumulations across the board. Now, it's going to really depend on the track of the system. Track of the system is going to make or break us here in Central Arkansas, and I hope you guys see it. As much as everybody's excited about it, you're excited and everything like that. I really do hope you guys see the snowfall potential here. And also, I'm getting some reports of some sleet ongoing up there in northern Arkansas right now. Winter events ongoing near the Ozark Acres up there in northern Arkansas, similar to what we were talking about. We had that. Give me 1 second. Let me see if I can get that map up and show you guys what I was talking about here. I had it this morning. I have to go back into our files here and see if it's gonna still be here. Yep, there it is. So this is what we were looking at this morning. I had to go back to 8 here, and we're gonna go back to the end. So this is what we had for tonight in the early part of your Sunday morning here. Trays, half an inch, higher elevations. I'll be real curious to see what happens up there. Obviously, if you guys have any snow reports or sleet reports or anything that's going up there winter-wise up there in northern Arkansas, let me know in the comments as well here. But I've been getting some reports of sleet. And also reports of a little bit of snow up there as well here. So, yeah, anytime, man, that's it for. If you stay with us long enough, we'll get to your question and we'll make sure it gets answered here. So, my grandson's got to travel to Paducah, Kentucky on Tuesday morning. That is going to be, you're going to be fine Tuesday morning. Your grandson's leaving at a great time. Getting out of here Monday night, Tuesday morning, you're going to be perfect. It's Tuesday night and a Wednesday morning is where things are going to get kind of chaotic here in Arkansas, upwards towards those areas here. So great timing. I think you're going to be good to go if you decide to leave first thing Tuesday morning. I'd go ahead and do it before things start to downtrend from here. So we have kids and grandkids in the Valonia area and Greenbrier who want the snow too. Like I said, I really, really hope you guys see it across the board. I really hope you guys see it. Also, we're in Tonytown, Springdale, which is in northwestern Arkansas, which I hadn't heard the last in about northwest Arkansas, and I'm going to throw something at you guys too. Every time northwest Arkansas has been the favorite, something's always happened. So I think you're going to see the snow. I'm playing the downtrend right now because of how uncertain everything is here. Now, this is the NAM, fresh coming off the bat. Let's take a look at it. Okay, now this is the NAM model at this point, and let's take a look at what it does. There it is right there. So first off, it's too warm to temperatures, which is going to tell you how it is. It's going to be too warm. You're still in that 70 to 80 hour time frame out here. So what it's going to do, there's your area of low pressure going right through southern Louisiana. And then let's take a look at your temperatures here. So here's your temperatures coming in. And then what's going to happen is right in here, right there. So basically from Jonesboro to Little Rock to Texarkana, that's where your snowfall is going to be continuing. So it's basically following the same path as it did before with the snowfall potential here. So it's going to have that snow coming into Little Rock and into western Arkansas and stuff like that here. But I think it's way too warm right now. I think the NAM model, which is funny because the NAM model is normally your colder solution with severe weather, but it's super warm for winter weather, which I would never understand. But right now, I do believe the NAM model solution is a little bit too warm. Especially given your track. Your track is way to the south for it to be this warm because you've got it going right through the Gulf Coast, basically. It's right there along that southern Louisiana track. It's going to kind of go into Mississippi, and that's where you have the cold air kind of wrapping in. So I'll be real curious to see what it does beyond this time frame here. Let me see if I can take this out. Is it going to let me take it out further than that? Yes. Yes. Okay, so there it is. So that's what it does. So now this is what I'm worried about with the NAM. First of all, it goes from southern Louisiana to Mississippi. That tells me that's going to be a no. That's going to be a straight no. Now, I have seen setups like this before occur where you had that warm air convection coming to Arkansas, and then all snow from western, northern Arkansas, and then central Arkansas is a cutoff line. I've seen that occur as well. So, like I said before, this is why I'm saying you're not going to get an accumulation map on me right now, because this is 18Z, and then this is 0Z. Notice something. Notice the difference between the two. So that's the biggest thing. Like I said before, with the 0Z NAM, you gotta take that accountability right now here. I don't trust it right now, because right now you're still 78, 80 hours out, and I do believe it's gonna adjust to what it wants to do later on. If you want my honest opinion, and Michael and Kevin, y'all are probably in this live stream too, this is kind of reminding me of what the original GFS was doing, where the GFS had western and northern Arkansas and just a cold rain for everybody else, and then the GFS eventually caved to the Euro and it brought it further south. So right now, I do believe the NAM model is kind of working that out, and I do believe it will come south and west within time. So the original forecast stands, because you don't want to go off of just one model. That's the biggest thing. You don't want to go off of just one model. But I do believe the NAM model is going to account for that at some point here. But this is kind of reminding me of the original GFS, where it had the snow in Oklahoma, and northwest Arkansas, west Arkansas, and northern Arkansas, and then cold rain for central and south. So we'll see what happens with that. I think I've got my answer with that. And also, let's take a look at accumulation. Now I know what accumulation is going to be. Favored in western, northwestern Arkansas here. So basically right through there. 3 to 4 inches of snow is probably going to be even higher than that. Cuts off southwestern Arkansas, which I don't buy because you're on the colder side of the low. Central, southern, and then eastern Arkansas. So I don't buy the NAM model solution right now. I do believe it has some trouble developing the low, and I do think it's going to come south within time here. So that being said, now that I've got the 0Z NAM out, I will say this: it will probably be tomorrow afternoon, tomorrow evening for the live stream, but that doesn't mean information is going to stop. We're going to have the information on the page and everything like that here. So yeah, that's the biggest thing with the NAM. Yeah, don't trust it right now, because it did the same thing. The GFS did the exact same thing. It had the track, the placement alone, everything like that, and then it eventually caved. So we'll keep an eye on it. We'll keep you guys updated. The original forecast stands. Right now, the winner of this event, in my honest opinion, is going to go to our boy, the Euro. The Euro is going to nail this one out of the park. The Euro is going to get the best handle with the system. It's got the best handle with the low pressure, where it's going. It goes with the overall pattern. So the Euro, as it stands right now, is going to be your winner with this event here. I think the Euro is going to take this one home with us at this time here. So we'll keep you guys updated. You guys know that. If you have any questions, let us know in the comments, stuff like that. And we'll continue to keep you guys updated right here in your source for all things Arkansas weather.